the motor where the packing is. And that was severely grooved for the short time that the pump was in operation. Uh, Part of the issues with that pump was to control some of the sand. We had valved it back, but that put it they're not, they're thinking it was more of a sand issue block with the spider bearing around that sleeve to cause it to catch and break that adhesive.
So you think that by going from a 10-stage to an 8-stage pump, we can reduce the output of the pump so it's not exceeding its designed?
It was the design was for about 400 to 450, just based on where I thought the drawdown would be after a day's pumping. But now, in retrospect, it's also where that when we do a sand test on it, it would make much less sand at that 425, 450 range. So this, we won't have, the redesign will have two different advantages. One, with the foot valve on it, you're not going to get the back flush when you stop it, kind of surging that sand. And then also the startup, the shutoff head on that is at about 450. So even at the initial startup, even with no drawdown, that pump isn't going to make much more than 450 gallons, whereas before it was up all above 550 gallons a minute. So in the past, you had a big suck on the sand, and then when you shut it off, you had a big back flush on it. So the next time you started it up, you were drawing all that sand that kind of got back flushed into the program.
Well, I was reading. Okay, so I thought it was originally designed. Pump tests conducted on Black Mountain number 4 well were approximately 400 to 450 GPM.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was designed for.
But
it ended up pumping 550.
With the static water level, and it would take a little bit.
Because it was too high.
Too high to get down to that pumping level where I was designing it was still able to fill the tank after pumping almost a day, so that you could, maintain 400, 450 gallons after it had been stressed a while. And so that pump, its shutoff head was above 550. So when it would first come on, it would be pumping above 500 gallons a minute for
short duration.
Yeah.
John, you've got two invoices in here, 31,300 or so. Is that, those invoices would be effective? I guess I'm not sure what are we doing here? Are we trying, if we pay these invoices, that's telling Sergeant move ahead with the plan to go?
You're looking at the invoices for Sergeant Irrigation?
Yes.
Yeah. I would. Yeah. For the pulling of the pump and redeveloping, that's about 21,200 or something. That's the invoice.
So that's already work. It's already been done.
That work has been done. They're waiting on direction for their estimate of 10,000, and what let's say the 21,000, that is eligible for grant match funding, and the foot valve portion of that pump rebuild, $10,000 estimate, would also be eligible. Water development kicked in when we did the same thing on the number 6 well.
And what's the split on that grant?
66%.
We have 33, they have 66?
Yeah.
They have 66.
Yeah.
So we have 33% of 5,000? No, we would have 5,000 plus 33% of the top on the estimate of 10,000. Okay, so 3,000 of it's eligible. Just trying to figure out where we are money-wise with the project.
Well, and then,
Over or under total wise?
oh, we're almost $250,000 under.
It's kind of low.
Yeah.
We're under.
And that portion of the rebuild is what I was talking about, engineering fees going forward would be, not billed.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the invoice, have you already got that entered in your log, your payables?
No,
That you, as the engineer, have approved these expenses? Is there,
Yeah, I was on site, all those hours were, yeah, when I was out there for all of the development.
so basically a motion that says approve the invoice and approve the estimate?
Or authorize him to do the work
Or
on that estimate. Councilman.
So, move to accept the invoice for $21,000 for work on well number 4 and approve the estimate for $10,188.31 to complete Black Mountain well number.
Have a motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion?
So Candy, then you have to resubmit to WWDO or whatever for the
I
matching.
submit the invoices after we've paid them. And so when I do my next request, I'll just include this.
And they have said that it is available. for
Yeah, yes, before we started that work on this, there was a email correspondence between myself and Bill Brewer, the operation manager. And he was specific in, at that time, we still didn't know, is it a soft start? Is it this? And so he was like, the soft start would not be, because we've already paid for that once, but other issues would be. So yeah, he's okay with that.
Was it not discussed ahead of time how we operated the pumps?
That's kind of why I feel that at fault on that. I'm not making an excuse. These 2017 projects, the Wild Road, the wells, they were all started by my partner and completed by me. And so at the offset, there was some design things that were already kind of in there that I needed to check.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's all Rick's fault, but
You got broad shoulders back there, Rick? I'm just fine.
It's a good thing you're here.
yeah, I was gonna blame him more.
You had a question the other day about time.
Yeah.
And when I checked wells this weekend, they only run like once a day or maybe even 2 days.
Yeah.
My meters don't change, so I haven't went to winter settings yet, but just so you'll know, they don't run that much.
Yeah.
Who seconded the motion?
Well, if we're pumping sand, I guess, there's no guarantee we're not gonna go through this again, huh?
I think, after we put the pump back in and started back up, like I said, I was actually surprised at how much sand this made, because when Sergeant came back after they had initially installed the production pump and was going through the startup procedures, it really didn't make any sand. And
How long did they pump that?
they
Don't they just pump that out on the ground, right, on the surface?
yeah, we probably ran it close to an hour between, doing it at different rates, to check the pump curve to see if it was matching the pump urban things. And so yes, it wasn't a long time, and I think over time, let's say with the problem with it wanting to kick off, it wouldn't. There was a lot of starting and stopping initially, so I think the well actually got redeveloped pretty hard when we first turned it on into the system.
Did we put the soft start on to start with, or was that an
No,
attempt to
that
remedy
was-
this situation?
No, next option would be to go to a variable frequency
speed.
drive to really, dial it in. But I think with this new design of the pump with the 8 volts rather than 10, I think that soft start will still perform
that'll do
for
it.
us. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we need a well. I'll second the motion.
Did already.
Oh, you did? Okay, sorry. I didn't hear that.
No, yeah.
I just, yeah.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of moving forward with completing the repairs, paying the invoice for well number 4, Black Mountain well number 4, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Good report, by the way.
Moving on to ordinance 830 on second reading, which is an ordinance to increase fees at the cemetery. Is there a motion?
I'll move to accept the ordinance, what is it, 830, to increase fees.
In motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Is there further discussion?
Could I make a suggestion? It's my error. On section 2C, when it gets to infants, you should probably take the word R out. Infants less than 2 years. Infants are. And that's my error. I was proofreading it again while I was sitting here.
Section 2C.
2C, right after the word infants,
Mm-hmm.
the word
Oh,
R
gotcha.
should be removed.
So we need another motion to accept it
You
as.
can just
Okay.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Unfinished business number 3 is an addendum to the TO engineering contract.
So, the addendum to our contract is, if you remember last spring, we came to you with an addendum based on how many additional working days we had expended on doing inspection for the runway project. And then we had estimated that we would have 50 working days in the spring, summer, and fall. We went over 50 sometime in July. At the end, total, we did 84 working days, and in total, contractor originally had 130 working days. They were at 238 at the end of the project, the time we done final inspection. So what this is our original contract was $871,000. The addendum that I came to you last spring with was for $415,000. And then what this is just to make up the difference for the additional working days this fall and late summer for another $137,000. So that's really what the addendum is. Do you guys have any questions?
Work performed on the airport.
Just curious, are they gonna litigate this with you?
I think We're gonna have an executive session.
Gotcha. Okay. I'll second.
All right, it has been moved and seconded. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mayor, I have a request, because I had told planner Clark I would get a hold of her and have her run down here in time for, and so, I didn't expect that to go as quick as it did. So she should be here any minute, but
I mean, it's his plat.
yeah, it is his flat, but I feel bad that she's not here because I had told her I would, she's on her way, but
She lives fairly close,
she
but
lives 3 minutes away.
I was gonna say we could certainly.
You could start the
You
resolution.
could do the resolutions.
You could do the resolution.
Okay.
Oh, I can give you an update on my care package. I'm so excited about. Oh, insurance.
Yeah, but we can go to number 3.
resolution.
Do the resolution while we're waiting.
Okay.
That's agreeable, because we're gonna skip to.
CARES Act
new
resolution.
Business number 3, because, Annie thought it might take Amy, or my TO engineers might take a little longer. And so she
Yeah.
allowed Amy to come to represent her
It was my fault.
her planner work, and it went too fast, and Amy's not here yet. And probably don't have time for Will to give his whole spiel, so we'll do number 3 first,
It won't be back.
which is good information.
It is good information. So, I've written 4 coronavirus relief grants. Grant number 1 was for IT expenses, and it was fully funded in the amount of $117,129.56. Grant, so I kind of did them in odd order at the request of SLIB, but grant application number 3 was PPE and sanitizing materials, and that was fully funded for $18,856. Both of these applications for Town of Wheatland departments, plus, which also included the PD. So some of that's in there covering the PD plus all the rest of the departments. Grant application number 2 will be discussed at their December meeting, and that application was for an incinerator for the PD and a backup generator for town hall. So I'm going to try for those. And grant application number 4 will be payroll reimbursement request for the police department. So, and then so grant number 5 will be the fire department's, I think it was $3,000. So the resolutions that are included here for resolution 6, 7, 8, 9, and the addition of 10 are all here.
3 through 6 you already just
2 of them were approved. They're
you approved it.
just 2 of them.
1 and 3 are approved.
The IT expenses and the PPE and cleaning supplies.
Just the 2 of them, and the state.
I have a question.
Mhm.
So on the, what is it, 1, 2, 3, paragraph 4, whereas if any of the dispersed grant funds are later deemed not to comply with the SLIB criteria or the criteria of the CARES Act, the grant applicant agrees to repay the ineligible grant funds within 15 days of such finding to the Office of State Land Investments. Is there a sunset? Is there a statute of limitation? Can 10 years from now, can they say, hey,
No,
that didn't qualify, you owe us that money back?
and I have to turn in receipts, invoices, whatever, in order to get the money. They're not going to send it to us if it's not an eligible expense. It would be like if I got the money, if the town of Wheatland received the money, and then we spent it on something that was ineligible, and during an audit, they found that, then we would be required to send it back or pay it back.
You have to give supporting documents
Yes.
of your
Mhm. And most of their resolutions all say that.
So it's almost the fact that they release the funds to you almost guarantees that you've been approved.
And I'm sure during our audit, they will definitely go through our CARES Act expenditures.
So we want to make darn sure we spend
Well,
that money.
you had to spell out though,
Yeah.
in the grant application, what those items were,
Can
correct?
Jamie, on the table there, I had left this and it shows exactly what
Yep.
I applied for and what they approved. They saw exactly what this sheet is.
Something like that for us, our department.
I haven't,
We have one invoice.
I have an invoice.
One estimate.
Yeah, I have one invoice and it's a sales quote. And it's PPE, gloves, and it's all eligible. Build organic filters, 2-pack. I think there's some coveralls, that sort of thing.
Are all these things that we've already expended the funds for, they're just basically
No.
reimbursing us? No,
No.
not all?
Some, right there, like on grant application number 1, there was just 2 that were reimbursed.
Oh,
The
okay,
rest have not been purchased.
gotcha. Okay.
But don't you have to spend them by
Yes.
December 30th first?
We've ordered them. The second I got the okay,
Is that true?
everything.
Good job.
So
Kudos to you.
can we just do one motion and
Yes.
take them all?
Mhm.
If you do resolution blank 2020 through blank.
This would be 6 through 10.
So move to approve resolution 6227, 2028, 2029, 2020, 10, 2020 for coronavirus relief grant applications.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. Is there further discussion?
I wanted to bring to your attention that the PPE money, I'm on the airport board in Cheyenne, and they are applying for snow removal equipment and other things right now. I don't know if you guys applied for that, but it's available. I'm just
So-
sharing it with you.
They went through coronavirus funds. They
Got through the
applied
CARE
for-
Act. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff
It's a
going
big giveaway.
Andy, you're up. You'll be up late.
John, you want some?
Yeah.
on. Just something for your information.
Thank you.
Airport access requires medical transfer.
So you can put that spin on it.
Well, that's
Sure.
Exactly.
You could probably make it apply to just about any.
Are they doing? There was first, you made the motion, was there, and Jamie seconded it?
Seconded.
Okay.
Is there any further discussion?
I do have a question. In the IT one, you said something about providing or purchasing laptops for the council.
Mhm.
Is that, if we decide we don't want those, is that just reduces our,
Yes, well, what, I actually was gonna talk to you guys about that. If the council, I can get 6, I think it's 6 laptops for the council and for administration to check out and use remotely. If you guys would like that, we can do that. But if we don't need them, I just won't apply for, or we won't request them.
just less reimbursement? Yeah, just reduces.
Yeah.
You gave Wheatland businesses a shot on all this stuff.
Yeah, I think a lot of them are Wheatland businesses. And-
Trash cans. It's like for-
Trash cans.
That won't blow.
I mean, I didn't gather the numbers. PD and fire department, all of them did that. They just supplied the information and I wrote the grant. But a lot of it hasn't been purchased yet, if it doesn't say reimbursed. And did you see I got reimbursement for the well monitoring equipment?
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, so that was good. That was the only good thing that happened last week. But okay.
And my generator.
Can I?
12,
12?
whatever, so we do generator.
All right, backing up to,
No, you have to have a motion, you have to have a call for this.
Vote.
Vote.
it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion will carry. Now, backing up to, new business item number 1, which is a request for an administrative replat. We now have Planner Clark here with us. You want to give us the rundown?
Okay, so this is the administrative replat of the lots 24A through 30, 1A through 31C, 33A through 33C of the final villas at Black Mountain Village Planning and Development 2. And basically what the reason that they're asking for this is they're going from twin homes to single family home lots is what they're doing. Did I get that right? Okay.
I thought I saw where it was. Okay.
It was, so,
Where it was high density housing. Is that single? High density is not single.
It's, R2, well, R2 twin homes, we're mixing up the twin homes and adding some more single family in there. So we have to convert the twin home lots back to a single family.
Okay, I thought that this was for high density. I thought I'd read somewhere in here.
It was originally high density.
It was original. Okay, so now you're wanting to change that.
We have equal interested parties in twin homes as well as single family. And
Sure.
so,
Okay. Sorry.
right.
Go ahead.
so in addition, they're requesting a couple of the easements be vacated, but as we discussed at the planning and zoning meeting, only one of them be vacated. It's the one that starts on 26th Street and goes west towards the alleyway. And that, I made sure that there wasn't anything there. Ken, went out and did a locate out there to verify because they weren't utilizing that because they've already utilized the one on the other side of 6th Street. So, and those are only for the streetlights as of right now, is what they're for. So it's, the streetlight is on the west side of 26th. It won't be on the east side of 26th. So that one was okay. The one going from 25th Street to the alley, that one needs to remain. It's already utilized, it's already the streetlight there. Then we talked about the addresses out there, and I can't find any applications for them. I was able to find a little bit of information on them, how some of them were actually issued directly to owners. So I don't know if that's something that came about later. Colin emailed me back and forth today, but I didn't actually get it from. So. But that's something that we definitely want because that's how they get into the EMS system, PD system, sheriff's department, fire, all of that. And I mean, USPS has been pretty good about them, but we definitely want to make sure they get into everybody's system. The only way that the assessor has gotten them, I checked with her, and the only way she's received them is through the department. So that's where she.
So on the agency comments, Ken Penio says that it looks like this might be through our easement, may need to relocate there across.
That's the one that goes from 25th Street to the alley.
So that's that's one of your provisions, I guess, for approval. Is that
Yes.
if they have to move that, they do that at their
It'll
cost?
stay right there.
It's gonna stay, you're not gonna get into the easement. Okay. So then it will not require the elimination of 2 utility easements.
Correct, it would just be the one.
It will require the elimination of 1 utility easement?
The one from 26th Street to the alley,
Okay, so what does that entail? Eliminating the easement?
showing that it's vacated when they do their replat. So
Okay, what is the easement for?
It was initially for electrical. Initially, they thought that they were gonna put a street
Okay,
right there.
oh, okay, but there's nothing there.
No, there's nothing there. It hasn't been
Okay.
utilized, and they don't plan to utilize it in the future.
Okay, all right.
little confusing.
So
with
Ken's
people.
comments here are null and void. Is that what we're saying? Because he says it looks like this might be through our easement, they may need to relocate at their cost.
So if they were going to move that one from 25th to the alley, then that would apply, but because it says it's not gonna affect their plans, then that is correct.
Okay.
Will you have any completed construction within a year? Sell one of these lots?
Say
Will
what?
you have construction completed within a year? Sell one of these home structures?
Oh, heck yeah. We're building them right now.
Well, then I have an issue. You've given them 1 year to get a plat for it if they're gonna be selling these houses without a recorded plat of it.
No, that's not these lots.
That's what I'm asking. These
Okay.
here that we're talking about.
I thought you were
Just-
saying
no, I was
as a
just talking-
whole.
That's what I'm saying, that you gotta just wait a year to get a final plat for anything.
No, we won't start until we have the final plat recorded.
Okay. It.
That's on those 10 single family. We're over on 28th Street putting new plats
And
in
then
right
and I see them out there building, I was like, you better make sure you have a plat. Okay, no, that's all I asked.
Well, and that 1 year is what we put in the ordinance for planning, that's just the standard.
So item number 6, upon completion of the planned unit development, the developer will rezone the developed area within 6 months to match the usage to which it. So then you get to decide whether it's single family or townhome or twin homes, is that?
Well, no, that's why it's a planned unit development. The planned unit development is for basically mixed use and development as it goes forward. So once the development's done and everything's built, it'll have to be rezoned to, this section will be for the twin homes is the high density, this section for the single family is residential.
Okay.
What's the action? What do you need?
You need it to approve the replat along with the 6th condition. I don't know what page number on.
There's no page number, so that's what I
Councilman.
supplement.
It's on the back of the planning and zoning staff report there.
I think that's what you need, that action.
And at this time, then, I would entertain a motion to approve the replat based on the 6 recommendations from planning and zoning.
I will move I'll make that motion to do that pending the recommendations of the planning and zoning office committee.
Been moved, do we have a second? Second. Is there further discussion?
Help clarify for me one more time. What is the current land use,
The planned unit development
and what is the replat?
for when the development is complete.
No, is it still?
Oh, the replat, it's currently platted for twin homes, so the duplexes, and they're replatting to build single family.
On the front, it says planned use development, for present land use, planned unit development.
underneath that, it says proposed land use is residential high density. Is that a zoning change? Very top of page 1 of your staff report, our location area.
That was the original for when the planned unit development was first presented. So that is that will be part of the change.
A rezone,
They'll rezone when the development's done, yes.
zone from planned development to high density.
A portion of it will end up being high density, a portion of it will end up being residential. So everything that's a twin home will end up being high density, everything that is
Okay,
residential or
that
single
helps.
family.
That helps because I'm trying to figure out what number 6 meant.
Yes.
On completion of planned unit development, the developer will rezone the developed area to match the usage.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, again,
That's what, yeah.
come back and shoot.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion will carry. And finally, under new business, property insurance renewal is Reich.
Drive safely.
We'll see you.
To start off, Will, do you have anything you want to point out? It's obvious aside from the information.
No, we submitted the proposals for bids to Nationwide, Hartford, and Liberty Mutual. Liberty Mutual was the only one that came back with any sort of interest in it, that they would not look at it until they had a shot at looking at the casualty portion of liability. The other carriers declined.
Liberty Mutual was the only respondent to your.
The other two responded.
They responded, but they declined. Wow.
Hartford was due to claims. Nationwide was due to the having to pull this building off of the one day. They can't do that.
So I have a question, Will, on that, unless you had some, if you wanted to present something.
No, go ahead.
On that functional replacement cost, the FRC.
Yes. For this
So,
building?
for this building, yeah. So if this building burnt down, would we be able to put up a brick building like it was?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
The problem comes into play on functional replacement cost versus replacement cost. Our fire department does a great job, and they're not gonna let it burn all the way to the ground.
right.
2 offices in the front burn. We have to try and match that trim, the woodwork, everything else if it's on the replacement cost.
Sure.
If it's on a functional replacement cost, we go to the lumber store and buy trim.
Right. Okay.
That's the big.
But it wouldn't change the exterior of the building, I mean, as far as.
No, we're gonna put up a brick
It's
building.
gonna be a brick building, okay.
We have, so the current program, we have $1.8 million, or excuse me, $18 million in buildings outside of this building. This building is at $1.8 million. If the city shop burns down and we said it was gonna cost $1 million to rebuild it, and it actually cost $2 million to rebuild it, we have to put $2 million. If this building burns to the ground, we have to put in 1.8 flat, no matter what it costs after that.
And does that, come with an increase in premium?
It increased to $360.
$360 a year for this building being.
Correct.
Not
We
being.
increased the value up $210,000.
Okay. And I noticed that our wind and hail deductible increased. to 2%?
That's the same as it was last year.
Okay, why did they say it's changed then? Or why, on the back page here it
Yeah,
says,
I noticed that they said it changed, but it's always the same, that was the same last year.
yeah, it says we have different deductibles from our expiring policies. Wind to hail deductible will increase to 2% with $50,000.
And it might have been, yeah.
This is from your agency, right?
It's from Travelers, yes.
From Travelers? Yeah.
It's the same deductible you currently have.
It is? Okay. So they made an error there? And then, so was that also an error on the vehicle deductibles, or is that?
Well, there's $2,500 deductible for a vehicle that's over 100,000.
Right.
I think you only have one vehicle over that. They changed that.
Okay, so that is a change.
Yes.
Okay. So for the functional replacement cost, I guess it just kind of always, I don't understand. So actually it's, to me, that's all a savings to the insurance company, but yet it costs us an additional $360 a year in
We
premium.
increased the value of the building to try and match it, to rebuild this, because we don't have the benefit of the $18 million of coverage for the other buildings.
Oh, okay. Okay. And the only reason for that separation was that historic district.
Yes.
And the other part that's different from last year is now that we have the fire hall on.
Yes.
And the street sweeper
Yes. And another thing.
and the new street pickup.
So this is through, what's the insurance?
Traveler.
Travelers, okay. So do they have something in writing about that historic district thing that we're hearing about? I mean, you have something in writing
From them?
from them about
They just,
separating out the
we
town
have
hall?
to do that because we can't put this as replacement cost. We're not willing.
What's preventing you from doing that?
What's preventing them?
Yeah, what's preventing them from doing that?
Because we don't know what it would take to replace this building with this trim here. We know what it would be.
That would be,
without the old trim.
if we even requested that.
Correct.
But that would only be requested if it were mandated by the historic committee, correct?
Correct.
Which they are not they wouldn't demand. And they don't have the authority to demand.
We don't know that.
Well, we do, because we didn't give them that authority. We know that. We know that they don't have the authority to do that.
They're looking at if this group were to change.
Right. So does Travelers have something in writing that says that they do this elsewhere? I'd like to see that, I guess. That's what I'm asking.
I didn't ask for that, so I don't know.
Could you ask?
Sure.
I'd like to see it in writing where they say, if you're in a historic district, wherever in this country, that because of that, you can't be lumped in with the package here that we
Well, They
have.
won't put replacement cost on a building of this age.
They wouldn't do that anyway, right?
They did make the offer, if you would get an appraisal on the building or replacement cost with this trim, to come up with an exact value, then they could go with that.
And just qualitatively, doesn't it seem like functional replacement would be cheaper?
Yeah.
It's still replacement cost,
But you said that the functional replacement cost increased value that was assigned to this property as opposed to replacement costs. I'm saying it should have been the other way around.
so on the replacement cost, we're taking into account all the other buildings in the city. We're taking in essentially $20 million worth of insurance. We're not putting a assigned value on any one particular building.
So you didn't know, you had to split it out and came up with a
Yes,
guesstimate of
Yeah.
what it was
initially,
in the long.
yeah. And we do it every year.
You really don't know if it went up $350. I mean, really, right?
Yeah,
So you had,
yeah, because we know what the rate is per hundred,
for 100 square foot,
per $100 of cover.
$100. Okay. I've had a conversation with my office and then with Dane, because I was initially kind of, well, 11% increase seems kind of high, a little bit over 11. But, so I went and I looked at mine's about the same, about 9 to 10.
If you look at what the cost of lumber has done, I'm surprised it's only 11.
Well, then Dane had some feedback from his provider about Wyoming in general, and I think you said that to us last year.
It's not a pleasant place. Nobody wants us.
Hail,
Wind, hail.
Yeah, the town of Wheatland in the last 5 years has cost travelers $600,000.
So I thought that was a good point.
The town of Gillette just cost travelers last year, year before, probably about $54 million.
How long have
And that's just your town.
you're our agent, but how long have we been with travel?
I think it's almost 20 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say it.
I don't think we've had anything but travelers in my time.
One big problem is these last two
Yeah.
lines here. Decline to quote, decline to quote.
Mm-hmm.
And Liberty Mutual will take a look at it. I don't know what they're going to be like, but they won't do it without casualty. Most insurance companies do not want to just write property.
We won't do it without casualty?
Yeah.
You said?
What does that mean? Explain that to me.
Liability.
General liability, which we do through Wyoming.
Oh, okay.
We can do the local government liability.
And we're with the LGLP for the reasons of, because all the municipalities are.
No, the reason originally was, whether you like it or not, it was cheaper. At some point, I think we talked one other time when you were paying a claim that they denied, a sewers damage claim. Is it really cheaper when you start paying all those claims?
Exactly, yeah.
And I'm just telling you, it originally, that's how it got. Liability was cheaper through that. And to be honest, even after we got it there, I forget what council, it was quite a while ago. They had a fund each year for payment of claims that LGLP wouldn't pay. And so they just had a slush fund over here. They actually budgeted every year.
So that's a good question. Well, what, we get Liberty to put it with.
And we've talked about quoting the liability this next summer. Travelers will not do a program like this. They
So
will
we're
not write
grandfathered.
property.
Well, I don't,
Right now, we're grandfathered in.
well, yeah, I guess I'm wondering why we.
Yeah.
Look at the whole. package.
No, and we've talked about that. Last time we talked about it, we didn't have time. When it came around, we talked about it, I think we had less than 30 days.
Does our LGL, is that on the same cycle?
No, it's on the calendar, or fiscal year.
Fiscal year.
Fiscal
This is
year.
on our calendar.
Yes.
Does it help us to, we talked about this before, get this all sunk up? Time-wise?
Yes, all the companies will quote it to go from one or the other back around. They won't quote it to keep it separate. But they'll quote both of them as a calendar year, with the understanding that they'll have to tie them together. Get it.
So when would we need to look at?
We'll start looking at it in March.
So that's when we could potentially get a quote from Liberty for both
Yeah,
property and casualty.
We will give Liberty the chance to take a look at the liability along with travel.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think we should do that.
And I don't know, if you wanted to kind of get them in sync, you might want to quote for 6 months. Can you do that? Do you see what I'm saying? So
To get us to the fiscal year?
No,
to the calendar year is what I was trying to get you.
Oh, to the
Because
calendar.
right now, we're in the fiscal year with LGLP, on calendar year with Travelers, correct?
Correct. Neither of them will do either to start with. They'll do it once they decide which way you want to go.
And I actually think you could, LGLP, you could probably end it at a calendar year, just say we're done paying our premiums. I don't know if that's true, but I think, do we pay yearly premiums or?
We just, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but then Candy, do you remember what we guesstimated for budgeting purposes?
For property insurance?
Yeah, what we kind of guesstimated as percent increase.
No.
I feel like I'm missing one of my spreadsheets.
5%.
Hmm?
I think we did like 5%.
5?
I think so.
What's your gut feel for next year? I mean, it's like more of the
It
same.
completely depends on if we have the liability portion, gives us a lot more leverage. If it's just the property in Wyoming and Colorado have a bad year again, I have no clue. Depends on what OSB does and lumber prices do this next 6 months. OSB right now is $30 a sheet. 6 months ago, it was $9 a sheet.
Retail.
Yeah. That's a huge change.
Those are the exact numbers I was told 2 days ago. I was told 8 and 30.
Pretty close.
Yeah. Wow.
So my crystal ball stinks.
I wanted to replace one redwood board on my deck. Can't get it.
Can't get redwood?
Nope. So I just left it. I just wanted it. I'll just wait until next year, but yeah, you couldn't get it.
This coverage goes into effect on January 1.
December 23rd.
December 23rd.
Yeah, it's kind of, I have no idea how that came out.
Well, I'm having a lot of options. Either move to accept the proposal from Travelers and the Wellington Agency.
Seconded. Been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you for your work.
making time to come.
Appreciate
you
you
staying
staying
to
to
the
the
question.
Yeah.
I would still be interested in seeing that though.
Yeah, I'll see what they have to say.
I'd like to see
what they have out there.
It's a shame we don't have any competition in this country for insurance, I guess.
It'll get worse.
Sure, that's in there. Under announcements, I would,
There you go. Thanks for coming.
See you, John.
Thanks,
Yeah.
John.
the roads are a little slick.
Be careful.
The whole way,
The
John?
bridges are definitely slick. I was on them tonight.
Yeah, there was a cattle truck side piece right out with Canyon.
Oh,
Okay.
be careful.
Be careful.
Okay. It says, have an announcement, and they all go on. Announcement.
Under announcements, I would like to,
See you, Will.
See you.
to pick the brains of the 4 sitting council members with the council member elect in a workshop session, maybe before the Denver or December council meeting.
Denver game?
They're playing so well.
All right. Road trip.
Taking us to a Denver football game.
Road trip.
I think that, I had a conversation with Councilman Ritz and I think he hit the nail on the head when he said that maybe there's some things that you learned and in essence, give you like an exit interview. And you can maybe share some perspective for the new guy and maybe give us some ideas or expand on some thoughts that we've had to keep us tasked at hand. And I thought it was a great idea to have kind of a roundtable discussion on how you felt about the process, where you thought we started and would like to see us continue, and it might help Tony with some question answer and get him maybe some meat and potatoes of what are we thinking, how things work going forward. And I took Bill's idea and ran with it. I think it's a great idea. An exit interview of sorts for you and an opportunity for Tony to candidly ask questions that maybe would be easier to ask in that setting than in this setting.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to do that.
And I don't,
You know that I have strong opinions, right?
I do. We have
So
the
does Joe
opportunity to
Biden.
do it.
Yeah, right.
He can remember.
Before
Yeah.
December or January's meetings, honestly. So I mean,
Yeah.
whatever works better. Just
Yeah.
start early and often and try to hit the best schedule.
Okay.
You can do it before. I mean, meeting night seems to work good to have workshops. You know, we here at 5:30.
Okay.
Before the December meeting, if that's agreeable with everybody, or if that doesn't work for everybody, we could shoot for it in January.
Yep, whatever works for you, I'll put some thought together.
December and then meet it.
I'm sure we'll bombard poor Tony in December, and come January, he'll be going, what the hell did I get myself into?
No, next April he will.
Yeah.
Yeah, May.
May, yeah.
What happens in May?
Budget, buddy, budget.
You'll love the month of May,
A lovely month of May.
like never before.
Was that Camel?
New guy has to bring beer.
Yeah.
New guy brings,
Yeah.
And your mom's Mexican food, buddy.
Yeah, now we're talking.
I hadn't even thought about that.
Now we're
You
talking.
guys,
So beer goes good with that too, so. Is there any other announcements? Candy, do you have anything, or?
I know we already voted, and of course Will's gone now, but one issue when we got back to looking at it was our service and timing matters, so I know you two see it real well. Are we okay?
oh yeah,
Customer service and that stuff?
he's great to work with. We have an issue, a question, we immediately come back from him.
Okay.
And he's been great. I think Tabitha would agree to work with. Yeah,
I mean, you
great.
guys are on the front line, I just wanted to get, I know it's a little late. but-
No, I appreciate actually all his help and everything. He's been really good. No complaints.
I would like to say, good job, Candy, you and Tabitha, for hopping on all these grants like you did for the CARES Act. I mean, you were a step ahead of us on all that. Good job.
I kind of miss that grant writing.
You kind of miss it?
Yeah. I do.
So do you follow the other government entities to see what they're doing? Or that take advantage that can help the community? Just as FYI
For like on the CARES grant?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a Zoom, the SLIP did their meeting over Zoom. It started at 8 in the morning and at 5 it was still going.
Wow.
So the governor and all those elected officials were on there all day. So I really paid attention what other communities were asking for and getting. Like the snow plow and stuff, I don't know where that came from. That would be wonderful, but I've never seen that, so.
So I think he's confused because the CARES Act, you guys got money for your airport.
Mhm.
Like you guys got like 20 or 30,000.
We got
like that.
30,000.
Right. The big commercial airports are getting millions of dollars
Oh.
because they're getting hit though with they don't get their passenger fee charges as their tickets, so they've been offset that way. I think like the Cody Airport got like 15 million or something, just to give you perspective as to.
Well,
Cheyenne's a different ballgame.
And I was meaning
$30,000.
Yeah.
within our community, so
You have
what
military.
the county's doing,
Oh, yes.
the hospital, I guess, the
Yeah.
hospital, or, are there other?
Yeah, the
entities that are
hospital,
helping with it?
I saw at the last round, the hospital applied for reimbursement on payroll expenses on testing, I think it was. Malcolm and I have worked real close on this whole process on what he's asked for and what I'm asking for. And then I'm actually doing the applications for the nursing home, and they're gonna apply for a transport van and then PPE. So the hard part is, right now, is you have to spend that money by that December 30th date. So to get a transport van, it's gonna be a struggle unless Bob Ruard has it parked down there, or Chuck Ruard have it parked down there. And the nursing home can write the check and they go buy it. That's the hard part. But yeah, I've been working with them and writing a lot of them, so.
Keynesian
job.
economic theory at its finest.
Yeah,
Good job for taking the initiative and doing that on your own. I think I don't know that, maybe Brandon had a hand in that, I don't know. I know it wouldn't have been on my radar.
I did, I had a hand in it, just as soon as Candy called and told me and said, should I do this? I said, yes, you should.
So, I mean, that's great. What's next, boss?
Well, we need to have, we entertain a motion to go out of our regular meeting and go into executive session.
So